Hi, welcome to gregspaceshed.com. Today I'm going to look at 10 amazing, great and famous bass lines. I'll show you how to play these bass lines, which will improve your bass playing, and we'll also have a ton of fun at the same time. There's obviously hundreds of great, amazing bass lines, so I've picked 10 bass lines that I play a lot at weddings and functions. So there's some Stevie Wonder in there, Michael Jackson, Chic, James Brown and lots more. They're all from a similar era and they're very funky bass lines. So I'd be interested to see what you think about my choice of bass lines here. And also, if you've got any eras or different styles you'd like me to cover, then please leave a note in the description below. Now I've written out these 10 bass lines with tabs, so that'll be really useful. If you'd like the free PDF, then follow the link in the description box below and I'll email that over to you. Don't forget to leave a comment if you enjoyed my video, and please let me know what your favourite bass line is. Also remember to subscribe to my channel, you'll get updated about all my weekly videos. The bass line for I Wish is a swing bass line, a walking bass line, and it's got 8th notes all the way through. You can start with your little finger on the 6th fret of the A string, and that's an E flat there. And you can stay in that position here, but you do have to jump down to the G flat, which is the 2nd fret of the E string. So you stay in position apart from that G flat. So you jump down there. And once you've played the first part of the verse there, you then shift to the B flat, your 2nd finger on the B flat, so that's the 6th fret of the E string, and you play this pattern here. So you can stay in position there. So you've got those two positions there, starting with your little finger on the 6th fret of the A string and then your 2nd finger on the 6th fret of the E string. So you shift for those. This bass line is a really iconic, famous bass line. It's in E, so if you start with an open E, and when you have that pattern with the A, it's best to play that open too. So I go up to my 1st and 2nd finger here for the F sharp and the G, but you can play it with your 3rd and 4th if you want. So you might need to practice this bit first a few times to get used to that, playing it with the open string. And it gives it really a nice effect there, playing with the open string. For this bass line, if you start with your 3rd finger on A, and then you can keep in position for the whole bass line. For this one, you start on a D with your 1st finger. For the next bit, you jump down to the G. And then A. And then this riff here. So that's based loosely around a D a D7 arpeggio. So that's it. That's the D7 arpeggio. You go up to an E. So you might want to practice that D arpeggio first of all. So root, third, fifth, seventh, and then you have that jump. And it helps when you play the C, the seventh, to play with your first finger. For this bass line, I like to play it on the A string, the A and the D string. So rather than, it's just fatter here if you play it on the A string. So you start with your little finger and then down to fourth. I find that's the best way to play that cleanly. I love this bass line. It's got a lot of running eighth notes and tied notes as well, which gives a really nice timing to it. So a tied note is when you carry a note over a beat or a bar, and so you'll see that curved note underneath. So it gives that rhythm. And the bass line's kind of mixed up between using tied notes and not using tied notes. So this one's a case of, it's a really good one actually to practice your reading. So it's just a case of use the tab if you're struggling with the reading, or just work it out slowly. But yeah, it's a really lovely bass line. I find Master Blaster easier to play if I start with the C on the E string. So that's 8 on the E string. And that pattern there is an octave pattern, because that's the C and that's the C above, 8 notes above, which is an octave. So you're doing this, you're always using the octave. This is a really nice funky bass line on Lovely Day. Bit tricky to play. I start with my first finger on E, which is the second fret of the D string, and then I slide down a half step, so I start with my second finger on B, and then I put my second finger on E, first finger on D sharp, which is the first fret, and then down to the C sharp there. So This bass line's got a tied note or a push. That's just another name for a tied note if it comes before the beat. So it comes on 4 and. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and do 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 do. 1, 2, 3, 4 and do 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 do. Not on 1, not on. So 1, 2, 3, 4 boo do do. It's 1, 2, 3, 4 boo. So you push it just before 1. So it's 4 and. So 1, 2, 3, 4 and. That last bar, or the last measure, you've got an octave on the A, so open A, and then A is 2nd fret of the G string, that makes the octave. And then you've got 1, 2, 3, so naught. This is another fantastic funky bass line. I really like this one. It's got a nice groove to it, a lot of space to it. So start on the 1st fret of the E string. And that's actually an arpeggio pattern without the 3rd. So you've got root, 5th, 7th, octave. And you've got the same on B flat. Same on C. Back to F. That's the basic pattern. There's a few more notes in there. So you've got F, 1st fret of the E string, B flat, 1st fret of the A string, and then the pattern on C, which is the 3rd fret of the A string, and then back to F. And with the extra notes, you step up to the C and slide down to the F. Well, that's my 10 amazing bass lines. I hope you enjoyed them. Please remember to subscribe to the channel, and also to get the free PDF. Remember, you can follow the link in the description box below and I'll email that over to you. You can also find more videos and more free bass resources over at gregsbassshed.com. Again, the link's below, along with my Instagram and Facebook. Well, I hope that was fun. This is Greg from Greg's Bass Shed. See you in the next lesson.